Last night, Brett Kavanaugh was sworn in as Supreme Court Justice again. And this one was a primetime ceremony emceed by you-know-who. Take a look.
On behalf of our nation, I want to apologize to Brett and the entire Kavanaugh family for the terrible pain and suffering you have been forced to endure. Those who step forward to serve our country deserve a fair and dignified evaluation, not a campaign of political and personal destruction based on lies and deception.
That's so funny coming out your mouth. That is just so funny coming out your mouth. He also said that Kavanaugh was proven innocent, which of course is not true, but, you know, does any of this matter? I mean, is anybody surprised? I mean, they said they were going to put him in no matter what. They were very clear. So he's in. So now where do we go? That's the question. What happens now? He's in.
The where we go is midterms are coming, hands down. And I will say that this morning my husband texted me this poll, New York Times, Siena poll. Every vulnerable Republican seat is now way up. Blackburn is now 14 over Bresden, Cruz 12 over O'Rourke, Heller 3 over Rosen. So there have been real life ramifications. And Heidi Heitkamp, who took the bullet, ended up not voting for him. She's now down 12 points, which that was
okay.
between
That's
4%.
Okay. As you know, I hate polls because they go on a whim and but we'll know when we know. We'll know when we know.
But last night reminded me of where we are right now and why people are feeling so lonely politically and feeling so divided politically. It's because watching that announcement, or whatever you call it, there was no one leading at the helm. There was no one giving us calm. There was no one that was trying to bring us together. It was sound like a campaign rally.
A Supreme Court confirmation into a political rally. I mean, I have watched.
He loves the chaos of it all as well.
I've been watching these Supreme Court swearing-in ceremonies forever because I just love the sanctity of the Supreme Court. I've always studied the Supreme Court, and to see him talk politically at a swearing-in ceremony is so beyond the pale.
Right.
It was so inappropriate. It hurt me to watch.
It has galvanized people on both sides, and Mitch McConnell even said that this was a gift to Republicans, that it has galvanized a lot of voters. And I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying these numbers, which I know, I agree that polling, we can only go so far, but this much of a jump when you're talking about 54 to 40, these are big numbers.
Do you think women, female Republicans, what's the takeaway for them?
Republicans, I'm going to say that right.
But
First and foremost.
I don't know if there's been a poll of it, but it strikes me that female Republicans in particular, hearing the president say he's been proven innocent.
53%,
after having watched Ford's testimony.
It doesn't matter to 53%.
I'm sorry, can I just point out that we had a similar conversation when Roy Moore was running?
Yes,
and everybody said, this is what it's going to be. The truth of the matter is, no one knows what it's going to be. All you're responsible for is what you do. So I'm saying if you are a Republican or if you're a Democrat or independent, get out and vote. Make your voice heard. The media and everybody will say, well, this is what's happening. And I think oftentimes it's put out there to make you feel like, well, why am I even bothering? On either side. On either side.
No, it's a great point.
So,
I think what bothered me most about it last night was, first of all, it was ceremonial, which meant it didn't have to happen. He got sworn in on Saturday. So they did this little dog and pony show so that he could trot out his guy.
It's like, rah, rah, we won.
Yeah, it's like the gloating of it bothered me. But on the backs of on the backs of women in this nation, not even just Dr. Ford, that are suffering and have put themselves out there to share their stories, to then go rah, 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 he's innocent, when that is not what was proven.
I actually thought a lot about Dr. Ford just the past few days. I thought about Kavanaugh's family, too, and watching them up there. You could see it in their faces, just what they've been through the past month. It's all we've talked about at the show for the past month. But I've also thought about Dr. Ford and the fact that she wasn't even mentioned yesterday. It was, I feel so bad for Kavanaugh's family. And there are more people involved in this. And here she is sitting, who knows where she is, but putting herself out there. She didn't want to speak publicly.
But the optics
and then
that
losing
you're
that battle
about Yvette are important, because I agree with you that the ceremony aspect of it, I would have pulled immediately. I actually, had I been emotionally capable of being on the show at the time that this happened, the second Kavanaugh had that accusation, I would have pulled him and I would have put up Amy Coney Barrett.
100%.
It was my first choice instead.
100%.
And I didn't understand why we let the circus continue, as I said earlier, and we can believe whatever polls we want, but it has galvanized a lot of people. But I do think for conservative women, we are being asked questions right now that are very hard to answer in a lot of different ways. But I would have left out, I 100% agree with you, that optically it was toned down.
But it was done for a reason.
Oh, yeah.
It was done, and it's the question. Well, it's not even the base. It's a reminder. It's a reminder, you know, and that's why it's interesting because, again, one of the things that we've been saying on this show for the last couple of weeks is that, you know, sexual assault doesn't care how you vote.
Right. No.
So this is something that is primarily about women and being believed. And so when he said to who's the Al Franken, you should have stayed. You know, you got out too soon.
Trump said that?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Oh no, that was a couple of days ago. He said, you know, if you just denied, you should have denied it.
You were where you needed. You were where you needed to be.
Yeah.
You know.
But also, Joy has also said that Al Franken should come back in. Like she has publicly on the show many times. We've gotten in conversations about it. So this is where things get tricky. As a conservative woman, I don't speak for all conservatives, but okay. So Al Franken, who assaulted, by the way, my friend Leanne Sweden, and there are photos of it. He should be allowed back into Senate. And again, Joy can come back here. She's more than capable of defending herself. But that's okay. But for conservative women, there's a different standard. And I think the problem with all this that we talked about many times is that the goalpost keeps getting moved. And we need to know if it means Al Franken's allowed to come back.
Well, but Al Franken left. He took himself out.
He
took himself out and
to take the moral high ground.
Well,
Democrats want to take the moral high ground.
Joy said he should come back, and that it should. It was not. I don't remember exact quote.
But he hasn't been coming back, and the point is, this man said, basically, see, if you just waited and denied it, you'd have been fine. That was the message that he put out the other day.
Well, he was fine. As of now.
And he is
but
still
he's
fine.
Teflon. No one else is Teflon, but he's Teflon.
I want to see where conservative women fall on this issue.
53% is where they fall.
I think that conservative women, like most women, will make up their mind when they make up their mind, and you'll know where they stand on the day that they need to vote. And I think that's good, and we have to go.
Okay.
We got to go. We'll be right back.